What's up, YouTube? Hope everything is well with you guys. Today I have an amazing guest. I have Joe, a good friend of the channel, another content creator. So I automatically incentive all of my viewers to check your page. I assume a couple of them already know about you, but let's not spend a lot of time making the presentation for you. Actually, share a couple of words with my viewers that may not know you, your experience on the market, how you started, etc.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. So my name's Joe. I go by JoJoJMS on Instagram and YouTube. Andre calls me a content creator. I'm not really. I upload like once a month on YouTube, but I have got a decent Instagram if you'd like to follow that. So my story, I'm from the UK. I've actually got into cards through my shop. So I actually run a eBay store, which I've ran since I was quite young. I was about 12 or 13 when I first started it. And I kind of moved into sort of soccer card investing as opposed to just buying and selling in the last sort of three years or so. So that's my story. And then aside from my cards, I'm also a diehard Liverpool fan. And I think we'll win the league next season.
You guys actually took a player from my team, Darwin Nunez.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you better be good. Otherwise, I'm blaming you.
Yeah, because I support Benfica.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, again, it's a pleasure to have you with me. This was I was actually, since I recorded my first episode, I think I started talking with you that eventually we need to do this. And today is the day, so I'm really happy. I assume you know how this works. I have 5 questions for you. I know you also have a couple of questions for me, and we basically go back and forth. I shoot you a question, then you ask me another one. At the start, we basically just share a couple of thoughts, and when all the questions are done, we go back to the first one and have a longer conversation. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so actually we'll start with my first question for you. Like I said, just give me your first thoughts. Question number 1. I see that you've been getting more into pre-war, one of the areas in the soccer card market. And what is the best quality you see in that market versus other markets? Because at least, and you can correct me, I believe you are engaging on that market more and more every day.
Absolutely. And my pre-war is definitely my main area of focus. I'd say the defining feature of pre-war at the moment is the collector base and the quality of the collector base.
Okay, that's a nice answer for sure, and we'll expand on that in a minute. Yeah. Right now, you can ask me one question that you have.
Yeah, sure. So I was wondering if you had a defining moment in sort of your journey where you sort of realized whether you were doing something wrong or right, and how things changed after that moment, if you had one.
Difficult difficult question.
I did warn you.
And will be a difficult answer to be fair. I had a lot of those moments that I thought, you know what, I'm doing things right. Other times that I end up questioning what I'm doing. And I think is normal. I mean, we are talking about a super speculative asset, so there is no correct answers in this market. But the one that, and again, we go back to this, but the one that recently I've been realizing more and more is I don't want to be almost a refugee of PSA, of Beckett, etc. I want things with true rarity that, you know what, does not matter if my card is in a SEC slab or a PSA slab. It's a card that the market is strong, almost no matter the grade. I know that's super difficult, and to a certain point, the grades will always matter. But lately, I've been realizing that more and more. So yeah, basically going from condition rarity more into true rarity, even though I still see a lot of merits in condition rarity, especially for super iconic cards.
Cool.
So,
great answer.
Question number 2. You have a big eBay store and you have been featured by eBay UK, right? A couple of times, actually. I'm always seeing that on your Instagram. I even saw a couple of YouTube videos. Do you believe eBay will remain, since I would say you have a partnership with eBay right now, do you believe eBay will remain the best place to buy mid/high-end soccer cards? Because
So,
actually, let me say one thing. Because right now we are seeing that LCC have been gaining a lot of momentum. Goldin, basically the other, even my slabs.
yeah. Cards on the table. I'm pretty close with eBay, so my answer might be affected by that relationship. However, I would still say, even probably if I wasn't in such a partnership, that eBay is definitely the place for mid end, and then I would say low end as well. I know that wasn't part of your question, but low to mid end. High end is different. I agree that there's probably a whole separate opportunity there for auction houses like PWCC and Goldin to sort of hone in on that area. But I would say that without eBay, actually, a lot of the market would collapse because eBay is the source of most comps, and it's also the source of a lot of data for rarity of cards, and it's also the source for just finding cards as well. So without eBay, I think there'd be a lot of problems for soccer card collectors, particularly soccer card collectors, because of the nature of soccer cards, which are an international thing. I think eBay is the place where that comes together, and you can get data on those things and also find those things.
No, yeah, I would say I don't agree on 100%, but we go back into that. But in general, I agree with a lot of your points. And yeah, great answer again. So
Cool.
shoot me your question.
Yeah, sure. So I've noticed that a lot of people who got into soccer cards started out as sort of investors or bettors or gamblers on the market. And then they've slowly sort of moved into becoming a collector, having fallen in love with whatever they were buying. I was wondering sort of where you are on that spectrum and also where you see that spectrum going in the future.
Okay. I would say I probably did the opposite. I started more like a collector, and I became a little bit more of an investor because I started a couple of years ago. Prices are not what they are today. And at that time, since prices are not super crazy in my mind, I was actually investing in other market, in this case, Magic the Gathering. And that for me was where I really like to put my money, reserved list, etc. But with time, and especially with the explosion of the pre-modern market, even in particular Messi rookies, because I had a good amount of them, I started changing my shift a little bit because I thought, you know what, maybe actually soccer is a better opportunity than TCGs, in this case, Magic the Gathering, but even Pokemon, I had a big collection. So I end up doing the opposite. Where the market is going is a great question because there is a lot of people that, like you said, they come to the market just because they think this is a huge wave. I'm gonna, ride the wave, make some money, move on. But then they start falling in love with the game. They start falling in love with and soccer cards are so different than the American typical sports cards because you can collect a card from Portugal, from Netherlands. So many countries have so different releases that is actually great. Is a challenger for sure, starting to understand all of that stuff, but is also amazing. So I started in a different way, like I said, but I believe people will do basically what you said. They probably start like, I'm a flipper. You know what? I actually like this type of stuff, and we need to be better as a community to help those guys. Even when. And I will criticize myself right now. Even when I started the channel, I remember saying, oh, the ultra modern guys, the people from America. And I honestly regret that because, look, we all have a start in the hobby. Will be different from person to person. But the guy that is just flipping Bellinghams right now, in 1 year can be investing in pre-war, for example, or pre-modern and vintage. So,
good answer.
Question number 3 for you. PSA, and I think you are aware of this news, will open soon a grading office in Europe. They will start like more a middleman, but the plan is to open a grading office. And you are from that region. So in a few words, what you think about this? When you saw the news, what was the first thing that you ended up thinking about? If you can
I was, to put it like mildly, unbelievably excited. I actually think that this is probably the best news that the UK market will have and has had so far in its journey.
No, yeah, I look. I wish was in Portugal or in other
Yeah,
country because of the Brexit. But as
yeah,
far I'm aware, they will try to probably set up some type of middleman that I can send cards, for example, to France, and then they redirect cards
yeah, yeah.
to the UK. So probably will also be great news for me. But yeah, this is again, we'll talk about this in a minute. But I also got quite excited. So, do you have any other question for me?
Yeah, I've got one more.
Okay.
I said my question was going to be whether you do you set goals, and if so, what are those goals? Or if you'd rather not share, how long term are those goals? How far ahead are you thinking? How are you giving your actions towards those goals?
Okay. I have goals, but I've been realizing that my goals change almost every day. I know this may sound crazy, but sometimes, I'm not feeling that market anymore. At one point, I was very close to buy a Pelé Aquarela because I'm trying to find a nice Pelé rookie.
Mhm.
But then I end up realizing, you know what, this is not a player that I really care that much to be honest, and you know what, now I'm trying to get more into other legends, into having one of the best collections in pre-modern, basically things that makes me
Yeah,
happy. And investing, being happy could be two different things, of course. But one thing that I realized even with my professional life is if you like something that you are doing, most likely scenario you'll spend a lot of time in that, you'll do a lot of research, and you will become very good at what you are doing. So if I'm engaging in a player market that I don't even like that much, Pele of course is probably the GOAT, but that does not mean that I have to collect Pele. There is so many other players. There is Maradona, there is Cristiano Ronaldo, Zidane, so yeah, my goals, they change basically every day. Right now, if I had to share one with you, is I'm trying to have almost all the important cards that you can imagine in pre-modern. Of course, this is not easy and is a
yeah,
long term goal, but I really like pre-modern because basically it's the players I saw, and for me there is something special there. And I also believe a lot in demographics in the future, that more people will think like me on this one.
cool.
So, question number 4, and this is actually related with something that you said on my Discord on the odd takes. You said, high appeal beats rarity, but most people prefer rarity over high appeal. I
Yeah,
thought this was a perfect odd take because a lot of people end up disagreeing with you there.
yeah, they did.
And by the way, that's a good sign, because if I go there and I say soccer is undervalued, everyone will agree with me, but
Yeah,
that's not the what take in the end. I
yeah,
mean, a what take is something that is spicy almost, that most people go, what is this guy saying?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I had that reaction. Wait, what? High appealing is more important than rarity. But explain your thoughts, because I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my thinking on that is that if you believe in the soccer card market and you believe that, in the next 10, 5, 10, 20 years that collectors will come in and they'll appreciate cards, then you've got to bear in mind that they're dropping, like 4, sometimes 5 figures on a piece of cardboard. And ultimately, obviously there could be many reasons why that person buys that card. But ultimately, if one's a collector, it might be because they really like looking at that card. And if that's the case, then actually the cards with the best eye appeal actually become the most desirable, because if I'm dropping, let's say 10 years down the line, I win the lottery and I drop 500k on a PSA 10 Ronaldo, um the and I genuinely love that card, then I want to be able to look at the best looking copy I can see or I know of that exists. And
Mhm.
I think in cases where you can compare that to rare cards, which are maybe in slightly worse condition, actually, some collectors might desire the card which looks better. Because if we move into that space where cards become art almost, then art becomes a matter of eye appeal, and eye appeal therefore becomes really important for people spending a lot of money on cards.
No, yeah. In the end, eye appealing is very relative, so that could be the problem. But I honestly don't think this is a bad take. I'm being honest with you, because eye appealing is important, and it's something that I believe a lot of time people don't value in a correct way. There is
Yeah.
so much beautiful cards that just because of that alone, they have demand.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I would go as far as you end up going. And the end is our take that rarity, that IPL beats rarity. But I agree with you that IPLing is super
Yeah.
important. So my final question for you, and this is the question that I always ask to everyone: unpopular opinion on the hobby, on the card market, or again, another hot take.
Another hot take. Well, I'm not sure if you saw this one. This is another one I put into your Discord a long time ago. But I said that the best investors in soccer cards will not be on social media. I don't know if I should. Do you want to explain that, or do you want me to leave it there?
Actually, share a couple of thoughts because now I'm really curious. But yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So that's I genuinely, and obviously I'm on social media, just put my cards on the table. But I would say that you find that the most successful people on cards are not actually known to. Obviously, there are exceptions, but the best people on cards are not actually known to the general community on social media, and that's because they don't care about showing off or telling people how well they've done. They just do the job, and actually, you'll find that the people who really do well and make a lot of money are the sort of people who don't tell people about that, because people who make a lot of money do it on such a regular basis, or they become so good at it that actually it's not something to talk about and show off about because it's kind of second nature to them. And those people therefore aren't on social media because actually they don't need to make a hoo-ha about how they've made 10k or whatever on this card, because that's just business as usual.
No, actually, again, is a spicy hot take again, but you are not totally wrong in the sense that a lot of Chinese collectors, they have the
Yeah,
biggest
I was going to say that.
ultra modern stuff that you can imagine, and we are talking about millions and millions a lot of times, and they don't participate in any
Yeah.
type of social. And actually related with this, but I think is also important. Did you saw the video that Logan Paul put about the trophy card that he got?
I haven't seen the full video, but I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, he went to I believe Qatar, and
Yeah.
the guy that sold him the PSA 10 Illustrator did not want to be recorded. So this actually goes,
Yeah.
and this collection, I believe they said in one room they had 15 million. So
Yeah.
I mean, so crazy
Yeah.
to think about
Yeah.
those. It's just insane. So yeah,
Yeah, to use another example, just quickly, if you go to like major auction houses that sell art, often the buyers want to remain anonymous, and that's that's for whatever reason. But I think you'll find that actually that's the same for cards in some cases, and people from Asia, I think, are a great example of that. Also, one more example, really quickly, is I saw recently on Instagram. I can't remember the exact name of the channel. It's something like Showwave Vlogs or something. Purchased a one of one
oh, I saw it.
super refractor of, was it Ronaldo or Messi Chrome?
Both,
And the
I believe he actually owns both the
yeah,
101s.
but the
Those
one he bought recently, I'm not sure whether it was the Messi or the Ronaldo. He went to somewhere.
Messi,
Messi.
because he went to Paris with the card because of
Yeah, he went to
PSG.
somewhere really obscure. I think it was in Scandinavia to buy it off this collector, and I don't think he was on Instagram either.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, could be another good example for sure. So let's go back to the question number one, and let's talk a little bit about pre-war. You're not
Sure.
giving a great answer, but go a little bit, explain your thoughts a little bit more, because my community is very engaged with pre-modern and vintage. I feel pre-war is still a niche for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but I think pre-modern collectors, vintage collectors, they are one step away of engaging into pre-war.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah, the journey often is from modern or ultra modern into modern into pre-modern into vintage. That's often how people get to vintage.
Mhm.
So if even 20 people from your Discord move into vintage, that's a positive for me. So my answer to your question was that I think that the vintage card market or the pre-war card market has the best collector base, and what I mean is the I don't necessarily mean the deepest pockets, but I mean the people at the core of that niche, or the niche of the pre-war, genuinely buy cars because they appreciate them and they love them, not because they want to buy them to invest or because they want to make money on them. And I find that in pre-war, more than any other area of the soccer card market, you get people who are die-hard fanatics of these cards who know all the variations, who have huge appreciations for the true aesthetic of the sets, which comes back to this eye appeal thing I was talking about. And I think that what the good thing about that, what is good for that market is that then you'll see that in times of recession or oncoming recession, if you want to, use that term, like we are experiencing now, you'll see that actually the markets where the collectors are will hold up the best, because collectors appreciate cards for what they are, not as assets or as investments. They actually appreciate them because they love them. So when a card comes up that person wants, it doesn't matter that we're in a down market or that we're in, a cost of living crisis or whatever. Actually, it matters that they have that card because they love it as a collector. And I think that actually makes it the strongest market out of all areas of the soccer card market.
No, great answer. I mean, you explained very well. I guess I will share some thoughts on pre-war.
Sure.
It is a market that I do not engage a lot, but I know eventually one day I will start going more into that market. I bought recently a Konig Pyroteu, a legendary
stunning card.
Portuguese player, but basically is what I have. I don't have a lot.
Yeah.
I also have Queen Elizabeth rookie cards that are also quite.
Yeah.
So I have some experience into pre-war releases, but I would not say I'm an expert by any means. I actually don't know a lot, but I think it's a great market because it's probably the market where you can find true rarity the most. A couple of things, if you miss now, will be problematic to find another one, and I love that. I think that's great. And in terms of collector base, that I cannot tell you if I agree or not. I believe in you, but since I do not have experience on that market, I don't know. But for sure, I think is a great market. Is a market with a lot of history, and I know it's a question of time until I start engaging more there.
Yeah, I would say that although my answer is collector base, a close second to that would be the fact that, as you say, there are genuinely truly rare cards in the pre-war space. Cards which, if you don't buy it now, you might not see it for 2 years, maybe 5 years.
Actually, this was not planned, but can I make you another question related with this?
Yeah, of course you can.
So you said a couple of great qualities. Actually, let me give you an example, because I think this is the best way to introduce the question. Okay. I love pre-modern, but if you ask me what is the best quality on pre-modern, I probably would say demographics. I think players are still super relevant on social media a lot of times. Those are a lot of things. And there is some true rarity if you target correct items. But I would say the worst thing about the pre-modern is a lot of players, they have condition rarity only, and sometimes not even that. So this is my question for you. What is the worst thing about pre-war that you think? Of course, I'm not saying it's a bad market, but if you had to point something that you think, you know what, this could be maybe a problem in the future for pre-war.
Yeah, I guess the main problem you might have with pre-war is that actually you overestimate, based on your emotions about cards, how many other people will appreciate that card. So if you are buying in pre-war to make money.
That's a great point.
If you're buying in pre-war to make money, let's say you spend 2K on a card in pre-war because you love it and you think other people will, actually maybe you're wrong, then people won't, in which case you bought a really niche card, which you might like, but no one else does.
Hey guys, quick pause on the video. This was a great podcast. Joe was fantastic on this one. A lot of great insights in my perspective. And I hope you are also enjoying the podcast. If that's the case, leaving a like right now or at the end of the video is something that I would appreciate quite a lot. And this only shows support to me and even to Joe that ended up spending time with me and providing this great podcast for all of us in the end. So don't forget to like. again, if you are not a subscriber, also consider to do that. Right now I want to talk about two things. The first will be my Discord server. We are more than 700 members and I'm so proud of that. It's crazy because the Discord is not even 1 year old and is growing every day. So again, first, thank you so much if you already joined the Discord. And second, if you are seeing this for the first time, if you are not part of my Discord, consider to join. It's totally free and is an amazing place to learn and share. And there is a lot of great debate. There is a lot of great conversations there. And I cannot wait to see you talking with me, talking with other collectors on the Discord. Okay. So the last thing will be my Patreon, and to be fair, is the best way to support my work in a monetary way. It's a community that I'm trying to build. Takes time, but we are growing quite fast, and I try to provide enough value to justify the $10 you have to pay if you want to join the Patreon. I put exclusive content there, so every Wednesday there will be a new Q&A on the Patreon side. I recorded more than 60 Q&A, so if you joined right now, you basically have access to all of them, so content for a lot of hours, probably days. And I also put the extra audio on Saturday where I talk about the state of the market or things that I think are relevant that week. So if you want to join the Discord, link below the video. Same thing goes for Patreon, link below the video / description. Keep one thing in mind. If $10 is a lot of money to you, you do not need to join the Patreon, but at least consider to join the Discord because it's totally free. Let's continue the conversation and I hope you enjoy this podcast. No, that's a great point, and honestly was if I had to give also an answer for pre-war in terms of a bad quality, could be that, because the thing with vintage, with even with pre-modern, is we know the guys that we should target, right? I mean, everyone knows Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. If you go to vintage, Garrincha, Beckenbauer, all of those. And in pre-war, I know there is Dixie Dean. There is a couple that are also quite important. But the other ones seem, at least for me, seems more like a guessing game. Will people realize the greatness of this player or not? And that can be dangerous because maybe you could be correct, but the market never appreciate basically your perception. Again,
you're essentially gambling on other people liking what you like outside of the big, the big 10 cards.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of videos on a similar topic to this, that is explored markets versus unexplored markets. And explored markets, they are very easy to navigate, but probably there is not a lot of opportunity since the markets tend to be very well optimized. But for example, pre-war is what I call an unexplored market. We are still trying to figure out stuff. At least it's my idea. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, it's dangerous, but there is also the upside that can be huge if you pick the correct cards.
Yeah. So either it's unexplored because you've landed on a gold mine, or it's unexplored because no one cares.
Exactly. I agree 100%. So what was the question you had for me at the beginning?
The first one I asked you was about defining moments. So was there a specific moment in time which changed the course of the trajectory of your journey into soccer cards?
Yeah, like I said, there was a couple of moments. For example, I would say 1 year ago, I realized that I don't like duplicates, for example. As an investor, they could be great because if you really believe in certain cards, it makes sense to have a lot of them.
Yeah.
You can actually sometimes even corner one side of the market, which puts you in a crazy big advantage. But talking as a collector alone, I don't need two cards that look the same. I would much rather move that card to something that I don't own. And I'm always trying to find this balance. Look, for example, I have I've been investing more and more in Maradona, and I have a couple of Libre Stampas, which is my favorite rookie, to be honest with you. I have 3 right now, and that card is getting quite expensive. But would I be happy with just one? Honestly, yes. It's not like that I care about the other 2. The first I had gave me a good feeling. The other ones is more like, I think is a card that is a little bit undervalued. So let me speculate on these cards. And the thing I ended up saying at the beginning was that I ended up realizing that I like more true rarity than condition rarity. Not that I was not aware of this, because if you give an option, most people will choose true rarity over condition rarity. But it's not even that condition rarity annoys me that much, because look, I understand the PSA 10 will sell more than a PSA 9. But in the other end, sometimes I feel so unfair by grading companies, that, man, this card looks so great. And I'm not trying to be rude with PSA, Beckett, whatever, you name the grading company. But if you think about, we all play this game, but we all know this is a really weird game, because look, you have your pre-war cards that you love, right? You spend, I would assume, sometimes hours looking at your collection, seeing if this card have a nice eye appealing. You send that card to SGC, to PSA. The grader that started grading 3 months ago looks at your card for 20 seconds. Probably the guys, and I'm not criticizing really, but that's the reality. He's getting paid minimum wage and gives you a SGC 1. But if that person gives you a SGC 2, you probably make double your money. So this is a little bit messed up, because we are trusting someone that probably know much less than you about that card. And of course, we use grading companies to, first of all, see if the card is real or not, and also to take confirmation bias out, because of course, for us, we all give a little bit a better grade than probably the card deserves. But it's a weird system if you think about, that I spend so much time looking at the cards, I end up putting a grade on my notes, and then the grade is so different and you don't have any type of explanation. I don't know, this is more like a rant, and I'm sorry for that, but it is what it is. I don't like this grading game, honestly.
Yeah, that comes back to my eye appeal comment. So, for example, I actually had an SGC sub come back today, and it was all pre-war cards. And I wanted to slap them because obviously they become a bit more valuable and they become a bit safer. But honestly, I didn't give a crap about the grades, because I know what the cards look like inside or outside of the case, and I know they're really rare, so it doesn't really matter what the grade is.
Wait, Joe, just one thing. You said I want to slap them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said that I wanted to slap them.
Oh no! Slab. Sorry. No, I want to slap them. I don't want to slap FGC. I like FGC. Don't come.
I thought you are probably so bad.
No. I wanted to slap them, just to protect them. It's a good way of protecting cards, and also because they become a bit more valuable and they become easy to sell or whatever. But at the end of the day, I know what that card looks beautiful. I don't need, as you say, some, let's be honest, some person I'm never ever going to meet, some nobody really, to tell me what my grade is of my card. That's great in all for value, but actually for me to appreciate that card means nothing really. I mean, it might mean something if you've got a PSA 1 or a PSA 10, but sort of, as you say, most of it's just a grey area. And if you to use an example, UK, the older UK collectors. So I went to a cigarette card show, which is sort of 60-year-olds, mainly men, who love cigarette cards and love the aesthetics of them. They despise grading companies because they think they're just objectifying these beautiful cards that they love. So what if this guy in America thinks my card is this grade? I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, with that, I agree 100%. It's something that I've been thinking more and more. I don't find any type of great explanation for this mania around grading, honestly. I also think, since we live in Europe, Joe, maybe that's the problem, that we don't understand the American market as well as other people may understood, since they've been seeing grading cards for so long. And if you think about, you put a card inside of a plastic and is sometimes 10x more. And again, is an amazing game because we all make money because of that. But it's also something that, at least in the long run, scares me a little bit. I know people assume things will be this way forever, but who knows? Look, people talk about more technology coming into the grading space, right? Imagine if Google starts entering the grading space and creates their own company. Will PSA disappear because PSA cannot compete with Google?
Yeah.
If you put crazy, or even Amazon stuff. Imagine if you buy a card on Amazon and they grade the card for you. I know this may seem very unlikely, at least right now, but who knows the future? So that goes into the direction of the question. I want to have cards that look, no matter if it's Google, Amazon, PSA, packet grading, being the new king on the block, my card is a great card, and pre-war fits that very well, actually. Because
that's one of the main reasons why I believe in pre-war, is because the card itself, regardless of the era, regardless of the grader, is protected by definition of its rarity or its popularity. And what scares me a lot, as you allude to, is what if PSA closed down tomorrow, and actually, what if it's uncovered that actually PSA are unreliable, or people, I don't know, there's some sort of
Joe, just one thing. PSI is a big company, but there is much bigger companies going bankrupt, much bigger. I mean, PSI is not even in. So, and there is something around the hobby that they believe, you know what, this will not happen to us. Look, the SP 500, which is the biggest companies in America, there is companies that go bankrupt there. You know, so if you put that in perspective, again, I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too negative, but
no, I'm generally very. I think I'm a bit weird in this way, but I think about every possible sort of outcome. And the thing that scares me the most, if I was to use an example, is PSA assign my card at a grade 10 tomorrow. In 5 years, PSA go bust. PSA become, people don't rate PSA cards anymore. I send it to a different company. Let's say, to use your example, Google grading, and they give it an 8 because it's an arbitrary grade assigned by someone who doesn't really know what they're looking at.
Joe, I saw a guy posting that he has, I believe, a top scrum Messi. Sent to CSG, got a grade. Sent to Beckett, got another grade. Sent to PSA said was trimmed for some reason.
Yeah, I saw that post.
Sent to SEC, got a 10. I mean, I'm sorry, but and this is a topic that a lot of people do not like.
I know. I'm worried. I don't want to annoy your viewers.
No, but
your PSA cards are probably fantastic, and
but I also have a lot of viewers that completely agree with us on the, and I believe more people are agreeing with this lately.
Yeah, just bet if you can. I would always say that you should buy a card for the card, not the grade. I'll say that till the day I die.
I will share something. I will not share the card because I think the person don't want me to share the card. But there will be a new card appearing on the soccer card market that is a huge card. I will not say the player because I really believe the person don't want me to share that. And he sent the card to PSA. The card never was graded and got a 1.5. The card looks amazing. I mean, it's not even a vintage card, by the way. I don't know what went wrong. You look at 1.5 in other cards versus that, and does not look how can both be the same grade? I guess I can use an example of mine. I recently bought the Abramovich rookie and the Ronaldinho rookie, both PSA 4. My Ronaldinho looks like a PSA 4. My Abramovich looks amazing. So again, it's so weird to some, and if you try to explain that to a kid that don't have any type of bias to this stuff, he probably cannot understand that. How could it's a complex topic, honestly, but I agree with you with pre-war on that. That's why I'm saying eventually I will go into pre-war because I know I will like the rarity. But even in pre-modern, you can find true rarity in a lot of items, in vintage, of course. So I'm moving more into that direction, and that was a realization. I also told you the other one, Philip, I don't even like duplicates. Actually, this could be related with the other question. A long-term goal for me will to sell probably all of my duplicates and have different cards, because that's honestly what I enjoy. As an investor, like I said, probably is not the smartest thing, but as a collector is something that I really want to do.
Cool.
So the question number 2 I had, and this is a very interesting one in my opinion, is about PSA UK. You said that you got very excited, but let's revert the question a little bit. So of course, and I agree with you, this in general is great news, but you think there is a negative aspect on this, for example? I guess actually let me share first what
Yeah,
I think would be negative. I think if PSA opens in the United Kingdom, is not I think PSA will open on the United Kingdom, but if they start to promoting if they start investing a lot of money in marketing, and I think that that's a possibility because they want to have cards to grade. I suspect I'm talking more about soccer right now, but you can apply this logic to Pokemon, etc. Get cards with low rarity, they can actually explode in pop reports. And in soccer, a good example could be Merlin stickers. We know those are not that rare.
yeah,
So I'm sorry. So I would say this could be a negative thing if you are not prepared, but you should anticipate right now what you
yeah.
are doing in the market, basically.
I think another negative that might be worth considering actually is that the PSA premium, interestingly, you might go down because let's say I have, as to use your example, 100 Merlin stickers. Right now, I can't be bothered to send those to a middleman or send them to America. But if a PSA UK opens, then it's really easy to just go and drop them off there or send them to there from my door in a day.
Yeah.
And in that case, then actually the PSA premium might decline because, well, hypothetically, it might decline because actually I'm no longer paying. I'm paying for a card. So if I have to pay for a card now on the market, a Merlin sticker and a PSA slab, I probably pay more than any other slab because people really prize the PSA slab. But actually, what if PSA grading becomes so easily that actually it's not. It's not. My point is basically that I worry that some of the value assigned to the attributed to the PSA like premium is
Yes.
because it's so hard to grade cards of PSA right now. And
Okay,
actually, whether
Joe,
it becomes easier, that premium will decline.
can I add one thing? And maybe this actually is actually your point also. At least, and this is I guess my example. When I buy a PSA card, I'm aware that I'm paying for all the work that went to
Yeah,
grade that card. And if I
yeah,
live in Portugal, that's a lot of work for me.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and that could be basically what you are saying. Basically, if you know what, grading is easy, I can buy a raw and see
yeah,
what happens. Yeah, that I agree. That could be another thing
yeah,
for sure. If grading becomes so easy that everyone can do it, probably middlemen will be the ones getting.
yeah.
uh,
But I agree. The convenience factor probably it does. There is probably money in that convenience factor there. People would prefer to, as you say, buy a graded card and buy it raw, grade it themselves. But actually, if I can buy it raw, have a shot at a higher grade than the one I'm looking at, and it's easier, then I might as well.
no, yeah, and especially not related with soccer right now, but for example, with Pokemon cards, with Magic the Gathering, you can go to Card Market, ECG, and buy 10 copies, and let's
Yeah,
hope one get a 10
yeah.
or a 9, whatever the grade you want. So, no, I think that's a great point for sure. Yeah.
But generally, I think it's really positive. I think it will.
No, yeah, I agree.
It
In
will
general,
encourage
is very
more.
good.
It will encourage more people in the UK to grade their cards. And I think when people grade their first cards, that feeling you get is like really addictive. It's so exciting. So I
Yeah.
think people will get addicted to that. I also think people are more confident trading in graded cards. So if at card shows in London, most of the cards that are graded, it becomes a lot more. People become a lot more confident. So it's really exciting.
No, I agree. And you know this because I know you also interact on different markets. But a lot of people are saying, oh, PSA, Europe, they will have a lot of soccer. They will have a lot of Pokemon,
Oh,
not
it'll be Pokemon number one by a mile.
yeah, not soccer because even in the United Kingdom, I know there is a lot of Pokemon, and there is big channels even related with Pokemon
Yeah,
in that region. So yeah,
yeah.
I think
But
this in general is great news.
yeah, like Gary, who finds his Pokemon binder from when he was a child in his loft. Probably unless he wants to sell them raw because he needs the money, we'll probably just keep them. But if he can send it to PSA who are down the road, it then becomes these becomes so much more easier. It becomes the implications are wild, really.
Yeah, the thing that I actually find super interesting is people say all the time that Europeans do not care about cars that much, and of course there is some truth into
Mm.
that. But TCGs in Europe are huge. I mean, I played Magic the Gathering competitive, and I went to different places, and I'm talking about sometimes thousands of people playing in a
Yeah,
tournament. So I think TCGs will be especially Pokemon, because we know Pokemon is super popular right now. But even Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, I think they will have a lot of demand for that in the United Kingdom PSA. Another thing that I also want to add to this, and you probably agree with me, is makes a lot of sense that if they are opening in Europe, first of all, they did a lot of research if this was worth it or not, because they will not invest so much money and fail. And I also believe that they probably will invest a lot of money in the region. I would not be surprised if eventually they try to promote some type of national in Europe, like is actually happening right now in America. So I think this is honestly great news, and I think the future will be even better than we think, honestly, because if they are investing so much money, and it's not only that, is Beckett is watching, SEC is watching, they also think, you know what, maybe we should do something. So all of this could be a great news in my perspective. So yeah, what was the second question for me, Joe?
Second question was, do you mean third question?
I'm not sure.
So I've got the defining moment, which you've done, then I've got the transition from investor to collector.
Okay, that I did not answer yet.
Oh, you haven't done that one yet. Sorry, it's late in the day. So I said, so often people I've found have transitioned from entering the market as an investor and then moving into it and becoming a collector as they come to appreciate the cards. My question was sort of, where do you see yourself on that spectrum? Obviously, you alluded to your answer earlier.
No, yeah, actually, my answer was already a little bit longer on that one, and I think will be fun actually to flip the question. What do you think about that?
Oh, when I first, so obviously I had my business since I was like 12, and it's grown with my age, and that was just to make money. But but that was just sort of buying a car, selling it within a week, or buying buying out someone else's collection, then splitting up and selling it on my eBay. When it comes to sort of investing big money in cards and then betting on whether they'll do better or not, I started out doing that, and I mainly did that in modern and pre-modern, but then I really fell in love with pre-war, and I've now definitely sort of become a collector of pre-war. I would say, obviously, I'll sell cards to fund other ventures and stuff when needs be, but generally speaking, there'll be a few cards that I'll hold on to now, probably for a long time. So I'm definitely moving on that spectrum from sort of initially speculating to now collecting, and I think a lot of other people are too. And we've seen some people drop out of the hobby with the decrease in the market a bit recently, and those were the speculators who weren't going to become collectors. But generally, people are staying around, and those people, I would say, are more inclined to become collectors sooner or later.
Joe, actually, another question for you, because you started talking and I realized this is something I really want to know. You have a business with your eBay store, right? For example, I also sell on LCC and other platforms, but I don't feel like that money relates with my life almost. It's more like I sell it to buy another cards, but you are in a different position, I would say, because you actually have a business related with that. How you find the sweet spot, that what, this card is for me, this card is I need to sell? Because if it was me, that will be a problem, honestly, because it's so easy to get attached to certain cars, but then you think, you know what, I need to keep the business going.
So this is actually links to two questions I've asked you. So one, the defining moment, and two, my long-term goals. I realized that I was becoming too attached to my cards, and I was actually sort of putting my business into a bit of a liquidity issue because I was taking stuff, buying stuff, and not selling it, and obviously that's bad for cash flow and everything.
Of course.
So I kind of had a moment. I had to sit down with myself, and honestly, the answer is that I've got to be unbelievably strict on my goals. So I actually, this is something I do. So I actually collect a couple of card games which are really cheap. There's like rare cards to find which don't come up often, but they're not like expensive. They'll be like 10, 20 quid. And I use those to sort of fuel my the collector inside me. And then obviously I have the pre-war stuff as well. But generally speaking, I buy everything to sell with the exception of like 10%. And I stick to that by being unbelievably strict on my collecting goals. So I can only collect this set, these specific cards from this specific era. And that really basically narrowed it down to a point where actually I can't often buy anything for my collection because there's nothing around. So when it does come around, I can buy it and put it in my collection. Great, but generally everything else I'll buy would not fit into those collection brackets which I've set myself.
No, great answer. Honestly,
Yeah,
you explained
I
very
really
well.
want to do like a content series on my YouTube where I show off my like non like sports card collections, like my Doctor Who album sets and my Spider-Man album sets. They're all like quite cheap, but they're beautiful cards and they're like keep me going, you know, in that sense.
No, yeah, I mean that's the thing people need to hear. Even in soccer, I mean there is so much cheap cards in
Yeah,
Spain.
just collect, like if you really want to collect, but you also want to make money, just collect something cheap, like collect a match tax or a Panini sticker album, or go back 20 years and try and complete a 1980s Mexico set or 1986, whatever it was, Mexico set.
Yeah, Joe, and you probably agree with me on this. Is the problem is sometimes people don't have realistic expectations in the sense that they want to collect cheap, but also collect things that are great investments. That's super difficult. I mean, cards that are amazing investment, not all the time, but most of the time you need to pay a
Yeah,
lot of money for them. It's not
yeah,
like that other people is not looking there. But if you just want to collect for fun, yeah, I mean, like you said, the Doctor Who cards, even Pokemon cards, there is a lot of Pokemon
yeah,
or Magic. It all depends if you want to go for the top quality cards or if you are okay with other also amazing cards that even in the future they of course can gain some momentum. I mean, you see sometimes dead TCGs exploding again, and I don't
yeah.
understand that very well, but it's a reality. So
Yeah. Just to go back
um,
to one thing you said though. So you said some people want to collect cards that are investable. Actually, I would argue then that you're not collecting it. There's a part of you that wants to feel collection, but there's also a part of it that wants you to appreciate, and therefore it's not actually you're not actually collecting it because you plan to sell it subconsciously and down the line. So you should only buy things which to collect, which you'll be happy if they become £0 worth tomorrow. Otherwise, you might get burnt. And but on the flip side of that, though, sometimes you'll find that if you collect something, other people will be also collecting it, and actually down the line it might do well. So to use a really random example, I collected a Doctor Who set called Battles in Time. I've been collecting it for like 5 years, since like 2013 or whatever. Sorry, 2016. And it was like the cards were like £1 each, £1 to £50 each for that. There's a couple of rare ones. And actually, I found that I bought those just to collect. No investments in mind, just because I love the cards. Actually, I found that some of those cards have done really well financially, simply because there's other people like me out there collecting. So I'd be really careful when you buy a card to collect, hoping it will also go up, because you might find that actually subconsciously you're buying it not to collect, but because you want it to go up, and you're justifying it by saying, oh, it's for a collection, but it's not really. Actually, it's to make money.
no, yeah. Oh, but Joe, in the other end, I also don't judge, people that don't know that, because I feel I also don't know that. Sometimes I feel, oh, you know what,
Oh no, I do it too.
you
I'm
know,
talking like I know everything. I do it too. I buy a card like, yeah,
no,
this down the line.
I know that you also understand this, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
maybe there is someone watching this and thinking, you know what, I'm getting called out or something. No, I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
we all, like I said, this I talk all the time. This is a super speculative asset. Does not matter if you're talking about ultra modern or pre-war.
Mm,
Cards are worth what other people say they are worth. It's
yeah,
not like that they have intrinsic value. But that's why it's so normal to change your mind all the time.
yeah,
If you actually don't change your mind, that's a bit weird, honestly, because seems like that you are a little bit stagnate, on the market. I mean, if you learn more things, you find more passion. If you start engaging in pre-war, and if you are a pre-modern collector, it's normal that you want to sell some pre-modern to buy
yeah,
pre-war.
absolutely,
And people
absolutely.
need to be almost open mind to this type
Yeah.
of stuff. And like I said, I don't have the correct answer, and you
No.
also don't, and no
No,
one.
everything I say is I've learned from personal experience. So I bought a card being like, oh yeah, I love this to collect, but then I get sad when it goes down in value. I've done that myself. It's something that's happened to me before. So I'm just sort of speaking from experience. I don't judge other people's
No,
collections or what they
I
buy
know,
completely.
Joe.
It's just that's my experience.
No, of course, and people should be afraid of people that tell you need to collect this, because I mean, why?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
Oh,
not that.
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, buy what
collect.
you love. Don't doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Buy what you love, and if it goes But if you go down in value, but you love it, doesn't matter.
Actually, I guess I can share this example. Yesterday on Discord, one of my viewers or one of the members there was talking about Hugo Sanchez rookie cards, and I was saying, why you think is a great buy? Because, for example, if I compare with Gerd Muller rookie cards, I think those are a little bit a better opportunity, because in terms of greatness, I put Gerd Muller a little bit above of Hugo Sanchez. But people need to understand, it's not that I'm criticizing he's buying Hugo Sanchez. It's just a debate. He's just trying actually to push some type of critical thinking, because I would also be, yes, if you tell me, why you are buying Messi? Don't you think Cristiano Ronaldo have more to rate? I mean, and those arguments, we can go back and forth and actually evolve as a person. But in the end, and you said that very well, collect what you love, of course. I mean, my opinion, like I said, I don't know the future. I could be totally wrong. But
my
I also
opinion.
But I also think having people that push you to different ideas in a good way, of course, or at least try to push critical thinking, is super important. But I guess we can apply this in life, not only in cards, honestly.
Yeah, you need to think about counter arguments to your views in order to strengthen your views if you want to do that.
Yeah. Joe, I actually ended up skipping one question, but no problem. The question number 2 was not PSA. It was the number 3. The number 2 was you have been featured by eBay United Kingdom a couple of times. You have a big store. And I ended up asking if you believe eBay will be the main place to mid-end, even high-end, low-end. I think we all agree is probably the place for soccer cards. But looking at the question, I was thinking, this is not honestly what I want to ask. What I want to ask is, will eBay be the main place to slabs? Because raw, of course, I mean, you basically need to sell raw on eBay. But slab cards, cards on PSA, on Beckett. What do you think?
That's a great question. I think that raw cards, I think most people would agree. Yeah. I think slabs, that becomes a different entity. I think, you know what? That's probably the best question of the day. The problem eBay have with slabs is that they have competitors in that specific area. They do well everywhere else, but they have competitors in the form of Golden and PWCC. But I think that they can, as long as their competitors don't expand outside the US. So for me personally, I've got a decent eBay store. So when I list a slab, I'm pretty confident that it will get a good visibility just by nature of the reach I've got on eBay and whatever. But I can understand why someone who has, like 100 feedback or less might find it easier just to send it to PWCC who sell it for them. I think as people acquire more graded cards, it will become easier to buy them on eBay. And I think the authenticity guarantee that we've seen in the America, I think that's been put in place to actually give people the confidence to buy on eBay. I think the issue eBay have isn't necessarily with actually the eyes they get or whatever. Actually, it's to do with trust, because eBay in the past has been associated with scammers or all these horror stories that you hear every now and then. Whereas Golden and PwC as relatively new entities don't have this same sort of reputation. So actually, I think people check eBay as much as they check PWCC or Golden. I don't think it's an issue of people seeing your card when it's listed. I think it's more an issue of trust. So I think if eBay attempts to bridge that gap of that trust, which they are doing it, the same in America, then there is still a place for eBay to do well. And you look at like Probstein auctions, for example, on eBay, they still do really well because they get great eyes. And actually, I think you'd find that the PWCC on eBay still probably did better than PWCC is doing now, prices wise.
Yeah, I mean, the market was also so different at the time,
Yeah, no, but even for like American sports going back, you got as many eyes, probably more on eBay than you did on the PWCC website. I think it's more an issue of trust, buying from individual people, not businesses.
I Okay, this is a little bit complex because you can make solid arguments for auction houses versus eBay. What, for example, I think was a mistake to ban PWCC from eBay.
So
Honestly,
do I. So do
I
I.
also think they should increase their partnership. Because they have one of the auction houses with the biggest, probably the biggest auction house in the sport, in the sports, not in the sport because they are much more than soccer. They should expand with them, not ban them. And maybe they have good reasons. Again,
I agree.
we don't know. But I thought PWCC is a big hole right now on eBay, because a lot of times when I'm searching for, I love to buy raw also, so I also use eBay quite a lot. But when I'm looking for slab cards, I find them on PWCC, on Goldin. Is not, there isn't good quality slabs. They are missing a little bit on eBay right now. Maybe this is a temporary thing, honestly. Could be that. But I think the eBay Vault could be a huge thing if they know what they are doing. But I also end up changing my opinion a little bit on eBay for one reason. At one point, I was basically like you. I said, there is still a space for eBay, etc. With the eBay Vault, I even thought, you know what, PWCC, this will be a huge problem for them. But then I start realizing more and more there is a huge problem with eBay, and the biggest problem is they don't know cards, and PWCC know cards. So you have people that are experts on the card market there versus people that probably don't have a lot of experience. Maybe they will find people that will be very good, but I think this is honestly a great debate. Only time will tell. To be fair.
Yeah. Can I just say one more thing on that?
Of course.
Just to use an example, similar discussions were had about sneakers and eBay's relevancy to do with sneakers once companies like StockX came around, and I don't know what the other ones are now, but all those sneaker companies where you could buy sneakers outside of eBay, but you still see that some of the most important sales come on eBay, and that's one because sellers it's handy, but two because I would say, I don't know about you, but I would say with PWCC, the fixed marketplace isn't great because items are generally really overpriced. And I think maybe we're being a bit affected by our love for soccer. But actually, if you look at Pokemon, for example, the selection on eBay is as good as PWCC, probably better.
No, you could be totally correct on that.
Yeah, and also my last point would be is that buying on demand. So let's say I want a Cruyff card. If there's none in my PWCC weekly, then I'm going to go and look at eBay.
I agree. No, you are correct on that. But I also think that you go to eBay and you may not find one,
Yeah, and I agree with you about PWCC wholeheartedly as well.
I don't know. I miss PWCC on
Me
on
too.
eBay,
Those are great days. They were really exciting.
Because I thought they again, I don't want to go into the shilling bit stuff. That's between eBay and PWCC. But I enjoyed their.
Me too.
Their service. So I still enjoy them.
Can't stand extended bidding, especially as a UK resident. I don't have the bandwidth to deal with that.
Look, my strategy is very simple. I go to bed. I put a couple of bids a lot of times under camps. When I wake up, I check my emails. If I got the email, you won. If not,
which never happened to me ever.
No. Honestly, this is actually, it's funny that you said that, because I'm a very cheap person. I always try to find the crazy deal, and of course that's very difficult. But I'm also patient, and that tends to help. But let's say Sunday, I leave a couple of bids. I go to bed, and I look, 50% less than the last camp, and of course, most likely I will not end up winning. This week, I won so much stuff.
This week was a slow week, wasn't it?
Yes, because of the national. A lot of people end up saving money for the national. I actually bought a Cruyff PSA 2 for 1.9k, the Polyrex Campeões Europeus Football.
On that, by the way, I was actually going to bid on that, and I forgot. So you're welcome.
Thank you. Actually, in the not this week, the other week, a PSA 2 that I thought was even in worse shape sold for, I believe, 3.2k. So all of a sudden, the other one is not even 2K. That's my reason, at least. I thought was because of the national. And I ended up bidding in Magic the Gathering cards, Pokemon cards that honestly I was not expecting winning.
Oh,
When,
nice.
Joe, the funny stuff was when I ended up waking up, instead of going to my email, I actually went direct to the PLCC website. And honestly, I thought I zero
Yeah.
stuff. When I saw the bill, I was like, wait, what is going on? Was a huge bill. I
Yeah.
was not expecting. I had the money there, to be honest, but I was like, wait, what? I won. I guess I can tell you, I won a couple of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon cards, but in soccer, I won the Cruyff PSA 2, was around almost 2K. I won a Bobby Charlton rookie card, but the rarest version without the letters on
Yeah,
the
the
top.
red and blue back.
Yeah, I won a Maldini, I won a Garrincha, all of, not, I would not say all, but most of that stuff really under camps. And yeah, I mean, but I suspect maybe next week will still be an opportunity because there is still a lot of people at the
Yeah.
national.
No, I think that next week's definitely worth looking at.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess you can even apply the counter argument in the sense that maybe 2 weeks from now will be not a bad time to bid because maybe people came from the national with almost a new motivation, maybe with more money. So
Yeah.
funny stuff to to be fair.
Yeah. Cool.
So what is the last question for me?
The last one was about your goals. So how long term are your goals? What sort of time frame do you give yourself, and also what are they if you care to share?
Yeah, actually, when you end up asking me the question, I did not have a great answer. But in the last question, I said that one of my goals is actually to sell most of my duplicates and basically have one card. Basically, I don't want a lot of because I really do not enjoy that, honestly.
No, I'm the same, by the way.
But this is a long-term goal. For now, I still need to hold a couple of cars that I think are undervalued. And if you ask me 10 years from now, I don't know, in 10 years, I will be a different person.
Fair enough.
So yeah. But what about you?
So I have goals for my business. I want to be, a certain size and stuff. But in terms of cards, ideally, my goal, if I had to be, is to have a Pele at Ellie for Bolliget above a PSA 1.
Okay, that's a great goal, of course.
So I'm everything I do is with that in mind. So whether it's selling a card or buying a card, obviously there are exceptions, so like PC pieces or special pieces, but generally for an average Joe card, I buy it with the long-term aim of, okay, this is going to go towards my Pele fund.
I mean, he's a great card. I guess you can debate he's the most iconic card in the market. And
I love it. I actually love it.
no, one day I also want to have that card. It's not like that. I completely forget about the Alifa Bologet. But yeah, for now it is not in my radar because I think there is a couple of things that have a little bit more opportunity.
Yeah. But I am finding that actually that, like you alluded to earlier though, that I'm like stalling a bit. So some of my cards which I've said, I'll sell to fund the Pele, I don't want to sell. So Dixie Dean's an example of that. I don't want to sell any of my Dixie Dean cards, like any of them, because I think I'm so obsessed with him. But I did buy those, not all of them, but some of them to sell towards that goal.
But Joe, that's actually a great example of rarity versus iconic because probably your Dixie Deans are more rare than the Alifa Bologet.
Oh yeah.
But in the other end, I mean, rarity. One other thing that I say a lot of times in my videos: rarity is not the only thing. Of course,
no.
But of course, you can say is one of the most important things. Yes, but it's not the only thing. And
absolutely, yeah.
And I honestly sometimes, and I do this mistake also quite a lot, especially recently, that we focus so. Oh man, this card is pop one. This card is so rare. But then, and this goes into again, all the conversation is related that. Yeah, but do people really care about this one? I mean, this card is much more rare than the Messevron Bees or the Alifa Bologet.
Yeah.
But those cards are iconic, and there is something to say about that.
That card just being what it is gives you a buzz. I remember the first time I ever held a Messi Mega Cracks. It wasn't like good condition or anything, but it's Messi Mega Cracks. It's got a buzz around it because of the nature of that card.
Is the history, right?
Yeah,
Is all the stories that you saw from other people. It's almost the lore around the card,
absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah,
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
These type of topics are super complex.
It's
We can spend
psychological.
hours and hours and hours talking about
Yeah.
this, because sometimes I also have a different idea. Sometimes I think, you know what, I don't care that much about rarity. I really want to have the most popular cards in the hobby, but then so is like
it's balance. I'd say
yes,
between those
we
two.
need to find a balance. But again, it's very normal to not be sure about your pet. You need to find one, but don't think that pet will be an obvious one, basically, because you will have doubts. I've been collecting, for example, not soccer, but Magic the Gathering for more than 20 years. And right now I'm collecting much less, to be fair, because I really want to focus in soccer. But even when I was collecting for 10 years, I had a lot of doubts, oh, should I go for this set, for that? And 1 year after that, I'm changing my mind again. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, and think about this, Pokemon. Charizard base set is not the most rare card in the world. It's actually quite common if you look at the pop report. But if you have one in hand, it's a different card, because
that is so spot on. So spot on.
Because Joe,
it's the allure of it, just for its like reputation.
And cards are about that, I know we are talking a lot about rarity, but cards are a lot about history.
Oh yeah, that's the flip side. Anyone who argues this card is rare, well, you can just argue I don't care, because this card is, everyone knows how sick this card is.
Yeah, that's why, and I guess I will shots fire right now, but I see a lot of people on Discord, even on my Discord, to be fair, and on Instagram, etc., that say, oh, Messi 7 on Bs, the pop is going up, you should focus on a different Messi. Yeah, but that's the most important Messi. So I don't know, especially in soccer, since we are such a new market, I feel sometimes people forget about this type of stuff. Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks, the pop ended up increasing 50 cards. So what? I mean, to demand that card have when you see one for the first time, that's a special moment.
Absolutely,
and I have a lot of
no,
you can talk.
Yeah, also the probability. So let's say 50 new collectors come into the market, and there are 50 new Ronaldo Mega Cracks graded. The probability that those 50 people want a Ronaldo is higher than them wanting any other card, really.
100%, yes. There is also that we have to think about demand right now, but also about potential demand, because the market will not be this way forever. And people say, oh, Messi on Bs or Cristiano Ronaldo, the pop reports are a little bit tight, especially the Messi on Bs. And I would agree with that. I also think for the market we have right now, you can make great arguments on that front. But I think that's also a little bit short vision, because but you think the market will be this way forever? Don't you think that if you hold that cards, if you believe like me that this can become even a mainstream market on the card world, that the pop will be actually quite low? Because if you compare with Charizard, with Michael Jordan, Massive on Base is still a quite difficult card to find versus those cards. I don't know. I mean, not trying to say that rarity is not important, because like I said, I'm actually trying to focus more on that. But I also think you can make argument that sometimes people get too focused on that, and they show me a card, you know what, oh, this card is super rare, and but who cares,
Couldn't agree more.
So actually this goes into the other question, that was eye appealing versus rarity, and I guess this is all related on that front, because but if you want to expand a little bit more on the eye appealing versus
absolutely. So I think this is basically a continuation of what we've just been saying, really.
Of course,
is that a card can be as rare in the world as it as you want. It can be pop 5, it can be pop 3, but that doesn't mean that card's going to be the most special card in the world, because one, people might not care, but two, actually, if money is to come into the soccer card market, if it's to go well in the future, then people are going to gravitate towards those cards which just look amazing. And that might not be the rarest cards. So, for example, you might think the Ronaldo Mega Cracks card, which I do, by the way. It looks amazing. It showed Ronaldo in his Lisbon kit in that action shot, and he looks really young with those blonde highlights. It's like just screams like early Ronaldo, and it's so cool to look at.
Joe,
And
can I
actually,
say can I say just one thing?
yeah, go on.
Don't lose your train of thought. And there is also a narrative that is a little bit bananas, in my opinion, that, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo cards are not rare. You know that the Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks, I believe on PSA, and again, I know there is a couple on BGS also, is not even 300 copies. I mean,
No.
that's still a very difficult card to find.
This is relative. When I'm saying rare, this is relative to the most common cards in the soccer card market, like Ronaldo. I'm comparing that to like Steve Bloomer's, where the population is less than 5. But
But Joe, I think people on soccer, and I believe we have a strong pre-modern and vintage community, they have sometimes the reality a little bit. I mean, I don't want to say a wrong reality, but sometimes they think that all cards need to be pop 5 or something. You know, I honestly sometimes I got a little bit confused. I think, okay, the pop is 100, but the Pelé Lifabologuete is 100 copies, more actually. Honestly, who cares? It's such an important card, you know. I don't know.
I think, and that eye appeal kind of comes into the allure of the card. So if I'm a you know, like a banker in the city who wants to spend a lot of money on a card to show off my wealth or show off my you know, prestige, I'm probably not going to buy a really rare card, because then no one will know what it is. I'll buy a card based on one, how amazing it looks, and that's to do with the grade and the condition maybe, but two, actually how that card looks in the context of the card market. So that card is, I recognize that card.
You want a card with a lot of history, basically, with a lot of
and you want it to be recognizable. So no one really knows about your, you know, your pre-war vintage card, which is really rare, but everyone knows that you've got a really nice looking Ronaldo Mega Cracks. I think that's a really important distinction to make. It's kind of the counter argument to the people who are obsessed with pop reports is, who cares? And that is basically what that argument is.
And the PSA 10 will still be quite rare, but will be more condition rarity, not rarity.
But I think, I know I've been talking about condition rarity earlier and saying how actually maybe that's not something that's you should, you know, is the be all end all. But then again, if I have a lot of money to spend, I'm going to want the best condition version of that card out there, because I'm a card collector, and that's because that, you know, that's psychological. I want the best. And so actually condition rarity will then come to play there.
Like you said, it's all about balance. I mean, I also don't think if you just, you know what, I only care about rarity 100%. I also think there is a lot more than that you need to explore. Okay, but also have some iconic cards, some cards with lore that are, because the problem with cards that are super rare a lot of times is they are not very liquid, you know, because the market is not that aware. Look, if you have a Messi 7-on-Bs, a Pelé Lifabologuete, even a Pelé Lifabologuete, of course, is quite more rare than the Messi, but comparing with pre-war, they are basically the same thing. They are not rare. If you have cards for certain players that are super iconic, you may not get the money you want, but you sell the card. No, don't have doubts about that. I mean, so yeah, this is a very interesting topic. Honestly, this could be a video alone, as you can imagine. So the final question that I had for you was your unpopular opinion on the hobby. Can you say again what you said?
Yeah, sure. So I said that the most successful, or the most
the other hot take, correct?
This was my other hot take actually. I don't know how many I put into the group chat, into the Discord, but this is one of them. Is that the best soccer card collector investors, the ones who do make the best decisions and make the best money, are probably not going to be those on social media. And I guess the point I was making with that hot take is that if you see someone on social media who's done really well out of a card, that doesn't mean that they could do well every time. And this is a general point about social media in life is, you know, social media is a highlights reel. It's all the good things that have happened to someone, but that's not reality. Reality is they make bad decisions, they make good decisions, and there's sort of a balance between the two, and they might do a bit better overall or a bit worse overall. The best soccer card collectors, investors, are not concerned with showing off their wins or showing or discussing whatever. They're concerned with making money. And so, because by definition of them being good at investing and making money, it's not going to be sort of natural to them to then talk about it on Instagram, because it's not something that's unique to them or special for them, because they do it regularly. Whereas someone like like to use my example earlier, like Gary, who's sold his Charizard for $2,000 and made $2,000 profit or whatever, and bangs on about it on Instagram. That's because he's probably never done it before and will never do it again. Whereas the people who do it regularly on a regular basis don't need to talk about it a lot because they do it a lot.
No, I mean, okay, so you are correct that a lot of successful people are not sharing their stuff, basically. It does not matter if it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, anything really.
No, yeah, so social media in general, basically. Okay, but I also think being part of Instagram groups, Discord groups, basically you choose the platform is also good because first of all you can learn a lot, and I learn a lot from other people
Absolutely.
on Instagram, etc. And for example, I'm a little bit alone on this journey. You know, my friends don't care a lot about cards. I have one or two that they know more or less this type of stuff. I still have a couple of friends on Magic, but especially I'm talking more about soccer. They don't care about that much, and that was one of the reasons I created my YouTube channel at the beginning, because I was, you know what, let's share my journey with other people. Maybe I can teach something to other people. Maybe I can learn something from other people. And after that, I did Instagram. I believe I have an account, but I don't even use a personal Instagram because I'm more a Facebook guy. I'm old, so I never went to Instagram that much. But for cards, I think Instagram is great, you know, because even sometimes to sell stuff, honestly, because you know what, I'm always trying to improve my collection. If I make a story of a card that I'm selling, so honestly, everything is related in this conversation. It's all again about balance, you know.
No, I should clarify. To be fair, I've probably been not clear. I don't mean that they don't have social media accounts. I mean, like they could be in Discord channels, but they'll be like silent members, or they won't be.
They are more quiet, but you're correct on that.
Not the ones who the loudest people they're not the loudest people on social media. They'll be behind the scenes.
And you are 100% correct. I know some collectors in soccer and even in Magic the Gathering that they know a lot about the market. They talk with me private, but they don't even communicate a lot with other people. They know their stuff. Sometimes they also ask me stuff, but they are very quiet in general. So you are correct on that. And again, it's not a market that I engage a lot, but ultra modern, we know China is completely dominating ultra modern right now. You see sales stronger on Chinese websites versus eBay, for example. So there is a lot of truth in what you said, of course.
Every now and then on Vintage Discord, you get someone whose username you don't recognize share a picture of this, this like $50,000 card. And that's not because they that they don't have social media. It's because they're not interested in what the loud people are saying. They're interested in making their own decisions on their own terms and with their own thought processes.
Joe, it's very fun that you said that, because yesterday a new, probably is watching this, but a new member ended up joining my Discord server. And he ended up sharing, and you can check that after the video. He ended up posting his Iniesta collection. The guy had the Noir card, I believe, as the one-of-one top scrum that we ended up talking about, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. And he ended up posting this, was a Spanish collector out of nowhere, and went, wait, this is probably one of the best Iniesta collections in the world. And this photo is flawless Lionel Messi. So the guy probably have a crazy collection. And basically said, you know what, hello, I'm new here, I will post something. And we all went, wait, what is going on? Who is this guy, honestly? But he basically ended up just joining the Discord, and that's it.
100%. My advice, I say like advice, my experience is, don't listen to the people that are the loudest on social media, because actually the reason they're the loudest is actually because they don't have a lot to say. It's always the people sort of that you like the example you just gave. Those are the sort of people you want to talk to if you can.
Yeah, and especially I think one way to tell if the person have good intentions or not, a lot of times, if the person really tries to put you in a direction, because maybe there is something that they are trying to not sell you, but at least to push an idea on you, that you will push an idea on another person, and with that even manipulate certain part of the market. And I guess, again, I will talk against myself. I remember doing certain videos that if was today, I will not do that. I guess not even the first time I talk about this. I feel bad to have done the Pioneer Trouble video, not because I had bad intentions. I really thought Pioneer Trouble was an amazing set, but I felt super uncomfortable with the explosion on Pioneer Trouble because I knew I had an influence, and and that made me reflect a lot, because I thought, man, I'm a small channel, and I saw certain cards move because of that. I also don't think I was the only reason, to be honest. But I was thinking, oh, but if my channel keeps growing, I need to be careful with this type of stuff. So I think we all need to improve in this type of stuff. And that Pioneer Trouble video is, again, I still love Pioneer Trouble. I still collect Pioneer Trouble. But if I had the choice today, I will not make.
I'd love to make videos like you do. I just couldn't. I like you say, I worry that what I'd say, even if they don't listen to my advice directly, the way I frame it would then alter the way the person receives that information, and then therefore makes a decision on something to buy. And I think coming back to the original, unpopular opinion that you asked me about, that all comes down to sort of social media and the power of social media to sort of influence you.
Yeah, look, in the end, I also think the person that follow your advice, look, most of us are over 18 years old, so you are responsible by your actions in the end, and this is a market that there is no protection. If this was, for example, if I was giving stock advice, well, that will be a problem for me. But this is a super speculative asset. Everyone can say whatever they want, to be fair. For example, I say on my videos, no financial advice, but I don't need to say that, actually. I mean, this is not a security, so I really don't need to say that legal. But I still do it because I think it's important for the people to understand. Look, I'm not sure.
Definitely. I'm not for 1 minute, 1 minute saying that anything you're doing is bad. It's just when, as a consumer, when I make my decisions, social media and people on social media are not the only source for information.
Yeah, and I guess I can share this with you and with all the viewers, to be fair. The reason I started doing more podcasts and less that type of content was I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable with that content also, because in the other end, it's very difficult to not talk about cards if you have a channel about soccer cards. So, and there is always a guy, no matter what you do, oh, you are pumping this, you're pumping that. And I end up facing myself in situations that when I made the video, I was not pumping anything, but I realized that I ended up selling a card after a couple of weeks. Just a mess.
I remember.
A really difficult situation that you really don't want to be on that spot. So I've been trying to improve in that. Longer conversations for me is what I feel like should be the future of this channel, honestly. But again, I also don't judge other people that disagree with me on this front. That you know what, this is my channel. I want to talk about whatever I like, and that's it. I mean, like I said, in the end, all of us need to have some type of responsibility. I never watch a video on YouTube and I go, you know what, I'm going to buy the card that this person is talking about. But in the other hand, I know some people do that. So it's a weird dynamic that we all need to find as a content creator. You said that you are not a content creator, but you also made a couple of YouTube videos.
But even like my mail day videos, people will see what I've been buying and think that because I'm buying it, they should buy it. I'm not even saying to buy it. I'm just opening it on camera.
Another topic that we can spend a lot of hours talking, because this idea of pumping is also difficult to define for one reason. Do you have an Instagram? Yes. So what you think you are doing when you share a card with other people? That's even if you want to basically share your app, that you are happy that you bought this card, and most of the time that's the reason. But you are also influencing other people. I mean, that's why there is Instagram influencers, right? So this is such a difficult market to navigate, for example, I use this example because I know he's not pumping. El Rey Collection.
Yeah.
He makes videos about a lot of players. He makes videos a lot about sets, cards especially in vintage. Well, if I do not know him, I can also look at that and think, oh, those cards will get more expensive because even Al says that type of stuff. Sometimes he talk about one card, and guess what? People watching his video respect his opinion and buy that card on eBay. Is that pumping? I mean, I guess you can make an argument on that front, but in the other end, I think knowing the person, knowing the reputation of Al also should be in line on this. Al is a guy that really believes in the market. Al is a guy that has been doing a lot for the soccer card market. So I don't take those videos as pumping. I guess my credibility is not as good as Al, and I would agree with that, since Al is a giant collector. But I also think people need to understand, most of the time I'm actually just trying to explain why I believe this is a great set, a player, etc. So
I do that when I post a card on Instagram. I sometimes justify my thought process to buying it, and I guess that if in the wrong way, that could be conceived as me telling you that this is my thought process which you should follow, which actually is not the case at all. I just really like sharing and discussing,
of course,
my purchases. And I'm sure some things I've said today, people will be like, "What's this idiot going on about?" And that's great. I want to hear those those counter opinions. You tell me I'm being an idiot, because then we can discuss it, and that's where you really learn about stuff.
I agree 100%. Spot on that. I that type of discussion is where you actually evolve. It's not actually,
but when someone challenges you to think in a way you haven't thought before.
Yeah, it's critical thinking, basically. Is trying to go in a different direction. And I also think, look, I was talking against myself, against other content creators right now, but I also think there is a lot of negative people sometimes, that, I know what, move on. If you don't like, if you don't like what you do, what I do on YouTube, don't watch it. I mean, in the end, no one forces other people to watch videos. And again, I'm also not the guy that goes, oh, everything is positive. No, I also think that we need to criticize. We need to be open-minded. But I also think at least people that, at least if you see someone always criticizing, maybe that's a part that you should remove from your life.
Agreed.
Because certain people, they see bad in everything, and a lot of times that's actually projection, that they are doing.
Absolutely.
That they are projecting that in you, and it is what it is.
Like a balance. You want people to challenge you, but excessive challenging is just not helping anyone.
Look, balance is the thing that we all miss in life in the end, because I'm not sure if is in, actually I also know in the UK is also like that, but you have people on the left, you have people on the right, but if you actually try to put politics out of the way, there is a lot of great things on the left, there is a lot of great things in the right, so try to find pick the best points on the left, picks the best points in, and this is, forget politics, you can apply this, I would say, in life. Try to find a balance, because the world is not binary, it's not like there is the correct and the wrong. There is more than that, in my opinion.
Cards.
Exactly.
No one way to do it.
Like this conversation, I really enjoyed, Joe, because we're not talking about stuff that we don't know. I mean, what is your goal long run? I don't know. Short term, even short term, I'm not super sure, So, and the problem that I see a lot of times is people try to force you to go into their direction, because they feel if they have more people going their direction, they reinforce their beliefs. But in the end, a balance is what you should try to have.
And ultimately, each to their own. If you like something, you like it. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Of course.
Obviously, don't throw money at those. Well, I wouldn't suggest you throw money at those things unless you're confident in it as well.
No, Joe, it's more than 1 hour. Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed the talk, and we should do it the other day. not the next podcast, but who knows in,
A
in
part two.
next year or at the end of the year. I honestly don't know. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed. So thank you so much for spending time with me. Means a lot. And yeah, I think all my viewers should check out your Instagram, your YouTube. I will leave all the social media below the video, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you for everyone for having me. And if you're still listening, then you're not bored by my voice, then you've done really well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Cheers.